In the last 7 days, 3 governments moved to make it harder or outright illegal for you to ask them a single question, not a classified question, not a security threat, a basic legal request for public information about how your own money is being spent. And the BBC, the state-funded broadcaster of the United Kingdom, aired a primetime television show that labeled a man an extremist because he filed freedom of information requests. This isn't a coincidence, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what they're building and why they need you to stay quiet. Let's start with the show. The BBC's crime drama, The Capture, just released its 3rd season. In it, a character files 9 separate freedom of information requests from prison about government immigration statistics. Sounds like investigative journalism. The show calls it extremism. The character is flagged by police. Flagged for using a legal transparency tool that exists specifically so citizens can hold their government accountable. The show frames him as dangerous, radicalized, a threat to national security. And here's the part that should concern you. The character appears to be based on a real person. A real freedom of information activist named Louis Brackpool, who has spent years filing legitimate requests to uncover government data on migration. Same appearance, same methods, same framing as a danger to the state. The message couldn't be clearer. If you ask questions, you are the problem. And this wasn't subtle. Zia Youssef, a prominent British political figure, responded publicly. He said, "Sending freedom of information requests to the Home Office does not make you a terrorist. It makes you a highly useful citizen." He encouraged more people to do it. The BBC responded with a statement. But they didn't apologize. They didn't walk it back. They stood by the storyline. A state-funded broadcaster, paid for with taxpayer money, used that money to produce a show telling taxpayers that asking questions about how their money is spent makes them a security threat. Now you might think this is just a television show, fiction, drama, entertainment. But what happened 3,000 miles away, in the exact same week, tells a very different story. On March 13, 2026, Ontario's Minister of Public Service Delivery announced that the provincial government would introduce legislation exempting the Premier, all cabinet ministers, and their offices from freedom of information requests, completely, no exceptions. The people with the most power in the province, the ones making decisions that affect 14 million lives, would no longer be subject to any transparency requirement whatsoever. None. But here's where it gets genuinely alarming. The law would be retroactive. Every active freedom of information request currently in progress, every ongoing legal battle, including investigations into the Greenbelt land scandal and Premier Doug Ford's deleted phone records, would be wiped out overnight. And they extended response timelines from 30 calendar days to 45 business days. That's 63 real days. More than 2 months to answer a question that used to take 1 month, if they bother answering at all. Ontario's own Information and Privacy Commissioner, Patricia Kosyme, said it plainly. Retroactively changing the law sends a message. If oversight bodies get in the way, just change the rules. Now cross the Atlantic, same week, different country, same exact playbook. In the United Kingdom, the Labour government quietly began laying the groundwork to gut their own freedom of information system. Their justification? China. British officials claim that Chinese intelligence operatives might be exploiting freedom of information requests to piece together classified insights from unclassified government responses. The proposed solution? Lower the cost threshold for processing requests, making it significantly easier to reject them outright. The current system allows departments to spend up to £600 processing a single request. That's roughly 24 hours of staff time. Labour wants to lower that number dramatically, which means any request that requires more than a few hours of work gets thrown in the bin. But here's the thing nobody in Parliament is mentioning. Civil servants already have the legal authority to reject any request on national security grounds. They've had that power since the Freedom of Information Act was passed in the year 2000. The China excuse isn't about protecting state secrets, it's about protecting politicians from scrutiny. Maurice Frankel, head of the Campaign for Freedom of Information, called it out immediately. He pointed out that requests are already rejected when officials suspect a jigsaw effect, where combining individual pieces of unclassified data could reveal something sensitive. The existing safeguards work. This isn't about security, it's about control. So let's connect the dots. In the span of 7 days, the BBC brands a real transparency activist as an extremist in a primetime drama watched by millions. Ontario moves to exempt its most powerful politicians from all transparency laws, retroactively destroying ongoing corruption investigations. And the United Kingdom invokes a foreign adversary as a convenient excuse to raise the bar on every single citizen's right to public information. 3 separate actions, 3 different countries, one unmistakable pattern. And this pattern has been accelerating for years. While governments across the Western world have been building surveillance infrastructure at unprecedented scale, digital identity systems, biometric databases, AI-powered behavioral monitoring, facial recognition networks, they have been simultaneously and systematically dismantling the tools that allow citizens to look back at them. They want a one-way mirror. They see everything about you, your transactions, your location, your digital footprint. But you see nothing about what they're doing with your money, your data, or your future. This is not paranoia. This is documented, traceable, and happening right now. In the United Kingdom, FOI requests have surged by over 40% in the last 3 years. Citizens are asking more questions than ever before, and the government's response hasn't been to provide better answers. It's been to build higher walls. And it's not just the UK and Canada. Australia tightened its FOI exemptions in 2024. The European Commission has been fighting transparency requests from journalists for years. This is a global pattern, and every government uses a different excuse: cost, security, administrative burden. But the result is always the same: less transparency, more secrecy, and more power concentrated in fewer hands. Ask yourself something. If your government has nothing to hide, why would it need to change the law to prevent you from reading its records? If transparency is such a threat to national security, what kind of security system requires total secrecy from the very people it claims to protect? The answer is uncomfortable, but it's honest. Transparency is not a threat to national security. It is a threat to institutional power. And the people holding that power will use every available tool, legislation, media propaganda, even primetime television dramas, to make you believe that asking questions makes you dangerous. They will tell you it's about administrative costs. They will tell you it's about Chinese espionage. They will tell you it's about protecting the system. But the system they're protecting is not the one that serves you. Here's what they don't want you to understand. Freedom of information laws are not a gift from your government. They are the single most powerful legal tool ordinary citizens have to hold power accountable. Every major corruption scandal of the last 20 years, from parliamentary expense fraud in Westminster to the Greenbelt land deals in Ontario, was uncovered because one person, sometimes a journalist, sometimes just a citizen, filed a request. When they strip that tool away, they are not protecting national security. They are protecting themselves from you. And the timing tells you everything you need to know. As AI surveillance systems expand into every corner of public life, as digital identity schemes become mandatory gateways to services, as financial transactions become fully traceable and potentially controllable, the last thing those in power want is a population that can ask where the money went, who approved the contract, and what the real numbers actually show. They need compliance, they need silence. And more than anything, they need you to believe that your silence keeps you safe. It doesn't. Silence is not safety, it's surrender. And sovereignty, real sovereignty, the kind that can't be legislated away or branded as extremism on a BBC drama, starts with a question. Your question, the one they're spending millions to make sure you never ask. Now you know what they're doing. Now you know why. The right to ask is the right they fear most. Don't let them take it from you.